I will admit, the Jonas Brothers proved me wrong.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hey Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about Jonas Con that I just went to in New Jersey at the American Dream Mall. Now, this is actually the second time I have filmed this portion of this video because I filmed this the night that I got here, as in last night, after I drove to Vegas. I'm currently in Vegas for another event, and my travel mic decided to become possessed by a demon and just kind of started doing double speak and echoing and recording, and the whole audio file completely destroyed. Unusable. So I'm re-recording this, which is probably for the better because that other recording, very long, but I was also very tired. So I feel like I was probably nonsensical at times. So really for William's sanity and your guys's, watch habits, this is probably better that I have to re-record. This is good. This is good. This mic does like to annoy me, so I do have to hold it. I know you guys hate when I do that. Apologies. I will keep it down here. Back in February, the Jonas Brothers stressed out their fan base by putting a big letter on their Instagram page, as well as a video celebrating their 20-year anniversary. And then they announced that for their 20-year anniversary, that they were going to be doing Jonas Con, a big one-day convention at the American Dream Mall in New Jersey. Okay? Thing is that this was going to be a one-day event, and it was going to be a free event. So they said, if you want to register for tickets, registration is free on JonasBrothers.com. So what do? Immediately go and register. They made it clear that there was going to be like certain sessions that were going to be registered as well, but there would be VIP options announced soon. So I figured, like always, I would end up just doing VIP options so that I make sure I can get in. I have the most possible to review for you guys. That's what I normally do. So that was February 14th. And it wasn't until March 6th that I got another email from Team Jonas talking about being registered for JonasCon with more information about how to register for Sky Stage and Jonas Beach, two of the limited capacity stages that they were going to be having. Okay. And so what they were going to do is using 1iota, which is a platform that I use quite a bit. I've talked about them quite a bit on this channel. It's a lot of live audience member opportunities and movie screenings and things like that. Okay. Seat fillers, award shows, things like that. Okay. So not surprising. They sent us all codes and we were given a specific code for us to make sure that we had been registered. So it was not just anyone can just go ahead and book it. You had to have been registered, which is a good way to do this for one. It annoys me what happens later, but still. Then the following day at 7 a.m. my time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, they were going to open up the ability for us to reserve our spots, okay? And max 2 tickets a person. I wake up at 6 a.m. so that I'm awake at 7, so I can immediately go on and register. Now, I do have 2 email accounts. I have my work account and my certain personal account. So I got sent 2 verifications, I think because I registered twice, because my first registration for Jonas Con, they never actually sent me congrats, you registered right. So I thought I had input my email wrong. So I just did my personal email. So I ended up getting sent 2 codes. So you can be mad at this next thing all you want, but it doesn't matter. I didn't get it. So relax. I got up and I registered for both Sky Stage and Jonas Beach. Now, it did not let me do 1 ticket because I think if I had done 1 ticket, maybe it would let me register for both, but people ended up getting into both. So clearly there was something that happened here. I'm assuming one friend would register for one and then the other friend would register for the other one, and that's how people were able to go into both. I don't know what ended up happening, but I was able to register for the morning session of Sky Stage and then the second session for Sky Beach, okay? And I got confirmed and I texted my friend, literally here is the message, and you can see that it was 7:08. I messaged her. That's how locked in I was, okay? I clocked in. Then later that night, okay, around 5 p.m., we get another email. Jonas Con special additional session. This is that same day at 5:10 p.m. Thank you for registering for a Jonas Con fan experience session. Due to the high volume of site traffic, some fans were placed in a request queue for their tickets. These fans will automatically receive tickets to a special additional session featuring a Jonas Brothers performance and a celebratory keynote event. And so I logged into my 1iota, and now Jonas Beach gone. Not on my account at all, as if I never was registered. And then now the Sky Stage one was moved to a waitlist thing, and the keynote was now added, which what I found out later makes sense. But still, I want to acknowledge that I compared this to TanaCon in that the signs leading up to this event were giving TanaCon. And JonasCon proved me wrong for a couple of different reasons. I will go into all of them, but fundamentally for TanaCon. And then the people that were also comparing this to Firefest, because there was an article that came out around the same time as the tickets were happening. This whole thing was happening, saying that they were having trouble getting sponsors and things like that, and that fans were calling it a cash grab and all this stuff. And that's when people started comparing this event to Fyre Fest. Two things have to happen for Fyre Fest and TanaCon comparisons to be accurate, and they are not the same comparison. A TanaCon is not a Fyre Fest is not a TanaCon. JonasCon is not the same as either of these, okay? Usually it's the location. Location plays a huge part in these different social media disaster events, okay? Fyre Fest, you have to have the island element. You have to have the element of, I'm supposed to be at an all-inclusive music festival situation and I can't get off this island and my housing that I paid for is a FEMA tent, okay? TanaCon, you fundamentally have to have a venue that you sold too many tickets to when you knew that was above capacity. That's TanaCon. Fundamentally, JonasCon avoids all of that simply by being held in an open mall. The mall insulates them from a lot of issues and a lot of complaints that I would normally see or even have myself for a convention were not had or said here solely because this is a mall, and it really protected them in a lot of ways, and also obviously called back to a lot of like mall concerts that pop stars used to do and all of that. And that's been a whole discussion online of fans being like, see, we've been begging you to go back to doing mall concerts. Look how crazy this turnout is, okay? But the turnout being what it was could have been a potential disaster if this was literally any other venue. I'm not even kidding. So I think they were insulated a lot by American Dream Mall specifically. So then the following day, I get an email about VIP, okay? Sky Stage VIP and Jonas Beach VIP. Now, Sky Stage, there was like individual ticket options. Jonas Beach, the only VIP option was a literal suite, like a cabana. That was like the only option. And no prices were available until the tickets went unavailable, which I hate that they're doing that now, frankly. I hate that. But I ended up getting both VIP tickets to session 1 and session 2 for Sky Stage, okay? So those were $200 a piece. Do I think that was worth it? No. But this is my job, so it's fine. I was not like irritated walking around with $200 because I went in with the experience of, I literally did this to make sure I can get in here. Let's talk about day of. So they made it abundantly clear in the emails that the mall was open. It was free to attend. And certain sessions you had to be registered for. Okay. But I was like, this is going to be a lot. That's where I was also getting TanaCon vibes, because that was also the issue with TanaCon as well, where it was advertised as a mostly free event, but there was like 200 free tickets. And then all the other tickets that were sold were all paid VIP, and they were still over capacity the entire time. But leading up to the event, they kept saying it's a mostly free event, like just come through. And that was part of the issue with that. So I was like, oh, this could be a problem. Plus, previously at this exact same mall is where the Mr. Beast burger frenzy was when that opened with Mr. Beast. So I was like, historically, this mall is capable of being overwhelmed. Doors open. They let us in. Security, fantastic. I don't know how much of this was the mall and how much of this was the Jonas Con team being like, hey, there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of people coming here. We need to up security. Security, I'm pretty happy with, because this easily could have been dangerous, okay? Because it's a public mall. You know, malls tend to be, you know, a potential issue, or at least just more risk because of the state of a public mall. So in events like this, I would rather have security be excessive than not. So start walking through, and as I'm kind of moving throughout the mall, I start seeing like the signs of the Jonas Con. One, they're just blasting Jonas Brothers music. I think the entire mall, the entire day, the main speakers were just playing their discography the entire time. Throughout the mall, there were different 20 like stand-in signs that you could like take photos with. There were different art things and things like that. Like they had the periodic table of Jonas. I made my way over to the line for VIP for Sky Stage. Sky Stage was at the rink, which is like their ice rink, and it was just like no ice and concert setup. I had to check my ID, and I got given this wristband. Go inside, and this is where I started hearing complaints, but I will note that this is where the bulk of the complaints came from, and this is the bulk of what I saw on social media, and I did not hear this in the second session, okay? So I walk over, and I find just a spot on the wall that I can walk up. Now, we are on the second level of the mall, so we are on the second level of the rink, which means we are not on the floor, which means we are not close to the stage or barricade. So when VIP typically, which I will say this, I do think there was a lot of communication, but like not enough like actual information in the communication. There was a lot of emails that we got from Jonas Con that were things like, hey, do you want to sell fan-made merchandise? Do you want to be a greeter? do you want to sell fan-made merch? And they sent it twice, which I was like, did you not get enough? Things like that, meet and greet opportunities, photo chances, giveaways, like all this stuff. But like the VIP actual options of what it entailed, I do think they really benefited from not giving us any information, which is what led to some of the animosity in this moment, okay? Because we were on the level overlooking things, and there were like obviously no seats or anything like that. But typically when it comes to VIP, especially one of this caliber with this cost, there would be some form of a Q&A, meet and greet, the chance to be closer to the front of the line, a section on the floor, something like that. And we were on this balcony space, which that's when I started hearing some of the fans around me feeling really bothered and upset. The phrase I heard from multiple people was, they tricked us into spending money, which is not something you ever want, especially when so much of the goodwill from this event comes from the fact that it was free for most of the people attending. So much of like the incredible turnout and the positive nature comes from the fact that this was a free event. And so the fact that the people that paid money are irritated is not a good thing. So what else was up on this floor was a merch stand that was always open for VIP. And I don't think it was the full breadth of their merch because the big merch store was obviously massive, but it was a good assortment. And that's where I got my lanyard and my little Jonas Con tote bag.
Rushing to the merch stand because apparently there are lanyards for VIP, something with that.
Hello, can I get a lanyard?
Yeah, they're great.
Okay. The back too? Oh, cool.
I love a lanyard.
Overall, this whole event made me realize that I just have zero parasocial attachment to the Jonas Brothers anymore, which is weird. As a lifelong fangirl, you guys were my first like boy band crush. I was convinced I was going to marry Nick, like we all were, at some point in time. I watched all the shows. I watched all the movies. I listened to all the music, and I will still belt out Love Bug right now. If you play SOS in the club, I will. I'm not in clubs. What am I kidding? Okay, if SOS comes on in any context, I am freaking out, okay? But to actually, the Jonas Brothers themselves, these are just three dudes to me now. And I don't know if that's my frontal lobe developing, because it's not like I haven't seen them in concert in recent years. I went and saw them a few years ago here in Vegas. That was a great concert, but I think I like that because I like live music. I like this because I like live music, but I wasn't like, oh my God, it's Joe. I wasn't doing it. I fist bumped Big Rob at one point, cool. And even now, especially at my big age of 27, at this event, I wasn't upset because I didn't get a good view, or I wasn't too close to the stage or anything like that. It's just not something I'm enjoying at this stage of my life. I like being comfortable, and I like feeling, the music vibrating my internal organs. But a lot of fans, especially in the post-COVID concert going etiquette that we've been seeing, and the trends and the mass, I've made videos about this. There is a, emphasis around being as close as possible, getting that most viral moment possible, the best video possible, things like that. And so, yes, if you think you're paying money, you think you're going to get that. And that's just not what this was. Okay, now I did hear, because I was never able to get into Jonas Beach.
So that's the end, there's the beach club. I don't have any access to that, unfortunately, because they yoinked it from me. I can see it's kind of through the walls.
I did see that some people were apparently posting about the cabanas, and they were disappointed about the cabana experience because they were also above, looking down. The snacks that they were promised, the drinks they were promised were not really great. And so the Jonas Con teams did go to some of those people and try and make it right and let them go down into the floor space and all of that. Now, I do think that may have happened. One, $1,300. More money than $200, regardless of the amount. Doesn't make it right, but still, it's the amount. But obviously, by the nature of the fact that they were $1,300, there were way fewer cabanas, and therefore, those people to potentially be upset and try to fix those problems than the people that there were in the VIP level, which, I think there was, let's ballpark 200 people minimum. But I don't even think that's accurate. That's easier to deal with a handful of people for each cabana than a whole floor of people that you can't, safely get down to the floor. So doesn't surprise me that that's what happened. I'm glad to hear that there was some form of that happening. So that's good, at least. And like I said, this wasn't affected. I didn't hear these same complaints on the second sessions, I think, because at that point people were just more used to what to expect, or maybe they were just posting on social media and I didn't see it. I don't know. But mostly I heard this in the first session.
It's 10. This is supposed to start now, but they added 20 minutes to the clock. 20 minutes added to the clock.
I stick around for a little while in the first session. I didn't stay the whole time because once I realized that I could come and go with that wristband and I had a second session ticket, I decided it would be good for me to go and explore and see more of the con space as best as I could. Chicks in the Office came out. They talked with Big Rob. They talked with Franklin Jonas, who's going by Franklin now. Franklin performed, did trivia, which I'm not opposed to them doing trivia. I know that's their thing. I'm not a listener to Chicks in the Office in any capacity or anything like that, but they did trivia, which fine. I have the benefit of already having VIP for the next session as well. This is boring, so I'm leaving. I'm also starving, so I'm gonna go find a bathroom and then get food and split more things out. This is around the time I left. I was like, okay, I'll come back for when the guys are on stage. Like, I'll come back for that because I just want to go walk around a bit more and like get my bearings and figure out what the deal is because I have a whole day here. When I was walking around, I found like the Jonas Games room space, which is like their arcades set up that they had like taken over. And they had a Jonas Brothers trivia room where they were like doing trivia. If you have that, why have this on the Sky Stage as well? Like, I know you guys wanted them to host the Sky Stage, but you also could have just had them running trivia there the whole time. Or at least like trading off with the guy that was in trivia. Something like that. This is where, because some people were like, wait, the mall isn't closed? No. The best way I can explain to you how unclosed this mall was on a Sunday is that the laser tag room, which is G.I. Joe themed, they had changed did the takeover, so it was all G.I. Jonas. And there was a little kid's birthday party happening in the G.I. Jonas. I feel bad because the G.I. Joe laser tag, there's literally like a birthday party happening right now. And so they have to deal with G.I. Jonas. That's, oh gosh, it's like a kid's birthday party. That's so funny. Now, I don't know if these parents are cool with this, but imagine you book your kid's birthday thinking, because he wants to have a G.I. Joe laser tag party, and then everything is branded G.I. Jonas when you get there. Just to show to you how like open this mall was. Also an ice cream spot down here that was all Jonas themed. Up in the food court is where they had like Jonas Pizza. Everything was taken over for Jonas Pizza. They, I think, had the Jonas Cookie spot here as well. This is also where they had Camp Star and Camp Rock because there was a big Camp Rock element here, obviously, because they were celebrating the entirety of their career. But here as well, near the food court, down on the first level, is also where they had the little general admission stage that was just out and about. Anyone could go and see it, whether you were, registered 1 iota or not, you can go and watch this. And this is where I got annoyed. A few people from Camp Rock were there, Camp Rock 2 specifically. I was watching a little bit of that, and then I kind of like meandered my way back over to the concert venue. I was able to come and go from the VIP spot, which was nice. And obviously I didn't care about being barricaded, so it was fine. But later on social media, I kept seeing video clips from the general admission stage, and they seemed to be having way more fun. There seemed to be a lot more like little fun pop-up things that were happening there, like different fun little conversations and stuff that were happening and surprises that were happening at that stage. And obviously it was surprises and things like that, but like there was just no schedule really out and about. Even in the like announcements for like Sky Stage, Beach Club, all of that, like Jonas Beach, none of them were showing like a real schedule at any point, which I do think is frustrating because I'm assuming you did that so that you could keep the crowd full for videos. Which fine, but also I want to know where I need to be because I paid money for VIP, so I ended up just staying there most of the time. But I also would have just camped out at general admission if I knew it was more fun. And I would have just eaten the cost because video.
Merch line is still insane. It appears they're one of them, I believe. There's several merch spots, so I'll give them that. That's nice.
The American Dream Mall to me felt like capitalism anthropomorphized, but then you watch that like humanized capitalism, like do a line of Coke in front of you, and then you were like, did you just do a line of Coke? And they're like, no. Like capitalism gaslighting you. That's what this mall feels like.
So this is Jonas Con Golf. And it looks like each hole is themed after different songs, which means I'm trying to see another one. That one. Yeah. Slow motion. But this is a Angry Birds themed mini golf spot.
The Jonas Con element within this is like if you have a messy room and you're like, you watched a YouTube video about organizing, so you're like, I'm gonna go get containers. Okay, but you never got rid of the stuff. So now you just have like 5 containers sprinkled out throughout the room with more stuff in it. That's kind of how this is laid out. Wander around, you'll find something. They had the trading post, which is where that call out for fan merchandise was, and they had a couple of tables set up. Also here is where Danielle's, I think it's a jewelry brand. I didn't look into this because the line was always crazy. It's Kevin's wife's brand. Okay. So they had a big pop-up spot for her. This is also where they had more of the merch stops, but they had the fan-made merch, which is Trading Post. And they also had their OG red van that they would use when they were first going to gigs, when they were first getting started, and they were letting fans sign it.
This is the van so far, trying to find spots.
Which I do think is fun. They had a lot of pop-ups and, you know, more photo spots as well. Outside of the merch stand, I think they have the OG SOS sign for the SOS music video.
I think this is the SOS sign, which is pretty cool because they have things that light out. That's pretty cool.
I go into the second session for VIP for the Sky Stage. Now, I didn't stay after the Jonas Brothers finished their set. I didn't like meander around. I just kind of left. So I have no idea if they swept VIP floor at this time or general admission. I assumed they did because when I went back in, I did not see any of the other wristbands this time around, like the black ones. But this one I got and a Wetzel's Pretzels, and I just kind of camped out the entire time. And again, this is where I really started being like, am I grown? What was really cool about this event was like to see 20 years worth of fans, which is really cool, okay? Because you have fans that are like new fans that are like younger, and then you have fans like me, like one of their first concerts was a Jonas Brothers concert, or like this was their first boy band experience. There was one woman at my hotel that I saw when we were in the elevator, and she had a sash that said, you know, celebrating 37, I think she said, at Jonas Con. Like she had a sash made and all of that. There was just a variety of ages, which was really cool, and a variety of fans, but like everyone that was here was a fan. And the way I explained this to someone, because I was comparing this to the Eras Tour about like just like the girlhood and the fandom and things like that. But the thing with the Eras Tour is that there was a lot of people that started going because it was the Eras Tour, and they were brand new fans because of the Eras Tour. Taylor Swift gained a lot of fans during the Eras Tour. Whereas this, because it was a one-day event, because it was like, not hectic, but like you had to verify that you were, you know, going to go and do this type of thing. Had a lot more dedicated people coming to this. Even later, I heard some people that were like, yeah, we're just here to vibe. We didn't register for anything. We just knew it was happening and we're in the area, so we just showed up. There was a bunch of fans that were like, our goal is just not to spend any money. Free event. Let's figure out what's going on. And I think, again, the free thing really helped them, because a lot of the things that would be irritating, like no schedule, not sure when things are going on, crowding, lines, things like that, were excused because of the fact that this was one in a public mall and there was just regular Sunday mall traffic all over the place. But also the fact that like, I didn't pay any money. What did I expect? I expected a mess. It happened. Yay. Like I think that protected them a lot. Session 2, they had Franklin come out again and perform. Big Time Rush was there. Which all I'm going to say is Free Palestine. It's just all I'm going to say about that.
I remembered it as Big Time Rush came out before the Jonas Brothers, but I'm looking at my footage. They came out after they performed to do like a Q&A thing. They didn't perform. And then the All American Rejects came out. Would have loved to schedule. Also, the Jonas Brothers came out, did like a Q&A with the chicks in the office. Then Joe introduced Jay Shetty, who came out to do like a 5-minute meditation leading, left, and then they came out and performed.
Some songs were the same from the first set to the second set. Some were changed. I did get hear from some people that were at Jonas Beach that were annoyed about the fact that we got the songs that we got and they got the songs that they got, and that it was like a 15-20 minute session, which that was kind of the same thing that it was there, was like the amount of time they performed, which they were performing like 7 or 8 times that day before the big final keynote big performance, which was like a 2-hour show at the end of the night. So someone said, you can really feel the child star in these guys with what they are able to do in a day. And I do think that is an accurate assessment of the situation. What I did think was weird about the second session was that I knew going in that the All-American Rejects were only going to be performing in the second session. Don't know why, but that's what it was. And the All-American Rejects are actually going to be opening for them on their tour that is going to be starting. So I thought it was interesting that it was kind of like the Jonas Brothers at their own convention open for the All-American Rejects. I'm not complaining. I like the All-American Rejects. It just felt a little odd. I assume it was just logistics so that they could go to another stage or something like that, but I just thought that was interesting. After that, I went and did a loop, but I went down and I had to check in for the keynote presentation via One Iota down below. So I had to go down to the parking garage to go get either this wristband or this wristband. And so I check in and I look at the line and I look at the fact that my messages are not sending to my friends. And I look at the fact that it was like 38 degrees in that parking garage. So I asked the One Iota guy, hey, if I leave, are you going to take my wristband? No. Okay, hey, if I don't care about being anywhere near the front, can I leave and come back? He was like, yeah, just try and get back here by the end of check-in, which was like at 7, so in like an hour and a half. And I was like, okay, cool. So I left. The mall started closing down. They started clearing out some of the fan merch stands, selling spots in the trading post and all of that. And I started making my way up to go back to the parking garage. And I had seen that there was a line forming where I had checked in for VIP. And so I was like, wait, was there a VIP for the session? Now, I did later get confirmation that they eventually did add a VIP section for the keynote session, the one that we all got, okay? So there was that. If that was $200, one, let me know. And two, are you then annoyed that I just found a random man with the event handing these out near an elevator? And so I got to go to the VIP area for free. Let me know. I want to hear. I won't post it. I won't expose you. But I'm just curious because there was someone just handing them out because there seemed to be a couple of issues where like they had gotten too much stuff at some point, like the badges and the tote bags. At some point, I think they may have gotten too many, or they put them in the wrong spot, so people didn't know that they could grab them. Because even when I got the bag and the badge, and I'd gone back, some girls that were sitting near me in VIP were like, oh, how much was the bag? I was like, oh, it was free. They told me to take one. She was like, what? And like immediately went and grabbed some for her and her friends. So the badges though, like there was multiple spots while I was walking through the mall where they had just like stacks of the badges, like just sitting around trying to get people to take them. I had seen that VIP section. I was like, okay, I'm just like going to do a loop. And then that's when I saw the guy handing out the wristband.
Thank you so much. Was there just extras? Right?
They're just trying to fill it.
Gotcha.
I think they're going to be filming maybe.
Oh, okay. Is it level 3 or 2?
It's 2.
Go straight there? Thank you so much.
So I went in, much more crowded, obviously, for the final session, way more people in the session. It's also a night session, so the lighting is way better in the rink because it's got a big skylight. So during the day, it's super bright in there. I thought I was getting sunburn on my forehead because the sun was just beating down on me in VIP area. I did not stay the whole time. I had been up since 5 a.m. I had been in Orlando for my friend's wedding prior to this. I had an early flight the next day. I then had to drive to Vegas. So I left around 9 p.m. But they do a few songs. Then Eli Manning comes out and announces that they're going to be inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. They're going to be the youngest inductees ever. Their partners and family come out, and that's fun. And then they perform more songs. They also announced that they are going to, I don't think this happened while I was there. I can't remember, or if I just watched this on the broadcast, because they were live streaming this whole event for free, which was great. So on YouTube. So I was able to just watch this in my Lyft on the way back. They announced that they are doing a like Christmas special with Disney. And because of that, as well as something that my friend told me, because they're going to actually be doing the theme song for another Disney related thing. I think what may have happened, because my friend was like, hey, I see like a few people that I know who actually work for Disney. I don't know if they still do, but they have in the past, that are working Jonas Con. And so she was like, I think Disney was like helping them put on this event, but like Disney wasn't really anywhere. And so if it is true about like the Disney Plus thing, and then also the, song situation with the theme song, it could be that when they were starting to hear the things about Fyre Fest, that Disney came to the Jonas Brothers and were like, look, we've a vested interest in you not fucking this up. We're going to help you. And they like sent people to go and help, because there was a pretty on top of it team, I would say. I don't know. It's just a theory. A game theory. Oh God. But they were performing and I left. And again, this is where I was like, is this maturing? Which I am still a fangirl. I do still have parasocial attachments to famous people that I like and all of that. But normally my now that I'm an adult and I see these celebrities as humans and not just like this image on a screen, it's usually not like a romantic attachment where I'm like, we would be dating if they weren't, 40 and married. Like, it's usually not that. It's usually like, we would be friends. It's usually I could do better running their career than their team could do, like 5 Seconds of Summer right now. I truly think that if I just talked to them, we could get them back in the studio and there would not be drama every other week on Twitter relating to them. My parasocial comes into the fact that like half the F1 grid I see as my sons. Okay. Okay. But it's usually not like, oh my God, like foaming at the mouth because Jonas Brothers, like these are just 3 dudes to me. Good for you guys. I like your songs, which like they're great live. They've always been great live. They were great when I was a kid. They were great a couple of years ago. They're still great now. To do this regularly throughout the day with like literally no issues. Incredible team putting this on, frankly. And they are just incredible performers. But like as I was leaving, like that was where I like was like, this is not parasocial for me. I wasn't like, oh my God, I don't want to leave. It's the Jonas Brothers. They're still performing. How dare I? It was like, I was like changing the radio station. That's what it felt like. And so like, that's fine. Like I was more bummed because like I liked seeing the fandom happening here. It was really cool to see like everyone in merch. There were girls dressed like how I dressed to go to their concert when I was 12. Like there was a lot of that. Like it was just really like girls my age dressed like that, which I just thought was very fun. Oh, I did meet a viewer in line before session 2. And she, let me get her name, Amber Rose Anderson. She is a local, and she told me that one, she was not there for the Jonas Brothers. She was solely there for the All American Rejects, respect. But she was like, do you want local tea? And I said, absolutely. And she told me that the water slide park area was all under construction, and so she wasn't sure if it was closed off or not. And I mentioned about like the ticket issues that I was experiencing, and she was like, yeah, I heard they were trying to prioritize New Jersey people, which I figured might be the case. So it makes sense because with One Iota, because you can select like which events you want to like be shown about. So like I usually just select like LA and New York because illusion, I don't know. But like they have my location at least. So it would be easy for them to go through, oh my gosh, too many people registered, okay, and remove anyone that they thought would either one, not show up, or two, not be traveling or maybe may not travel, you know, which like there were people in the crowd that weren't from New Jersey for both venues, I would say. But just something to note, one theory. There was a lot of things that were like really cool here. Like if you were in line to go into the merch stand, which in a mall, you know, you would think, oh, you see a line, just get into it. Let's see what's going on potentially. But like everyone that was here was like, here is like a fan. And I think that that was really cool. Like there really weren't anyone that was like, yeah, I think it would be really cool for social media if I go, you know, like people were here because they were fans, you know, which I do think is what made this really special. Could they do this again? I really don't know. I think this may have just been one of those like flash in the pans, really cool one-time event. Could they do Jonas Con in other parts of the world? Absolutely. But I think like making this like a yearly thing or something like that, I don't know if that's possible. I do think that comparing this to like the mall concert, I do think that this is the mall concert, again, like I said, in the post-COVID new concert etiquette era, where it's like a bit of a frenzy, you know? And so you need to make it something like this that is more structured like a Jonas Con to make it safer if you're going to publicize it this far in advance, even just 2 months. Do I think the $200 was worth it? No. Not even a little bit. But it's fine. Like, it's my job. I get people being mad. I would not be shocked if people were like, hey, this is a ripoff, you know, just so you know. Just so you're prepared. I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I got to experience this. I had a good time. It was a lot. I'm exhausted, but like that's not their fault, you know? Like it was logistically a nightmare for me because I was sleep deprived, you know? It's not like logistically a nightmare solely because it was a bit of a cluster. Like I won't say clusterfuck, but it was a cluster. There's a lot happening. There's a lot I would do differently because I can't turn my brain off. But like overall, I'm glad I went. I had a good time. It's really going to be it. Were you at Jonas Con? Are you mad that I was at Jonas Con? Because there's always someone. Would you go to Jonas Con if they did another spot? Do you think this will lead to a rise of like mall concerts from pop stars and the like? Again, let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is now available for Spotify. Reminder, use code SWELL for 10% off on gamer subs. Shout out to my channel members. You've also follow me on channel memberships. You can go ahead and click join down below if you'd like to follow me on social media. That'll be all up here. And that's me. Have a lovely day. I need sleep. Goodbye. Like all my wristbands. The Jade Shetty thing was so weird to me. I'm so curious how you guys chose this lineup. Fascinating to me. Anyways, bye.